Welcome to Villain Tutorials, and my name is Chrognar. Welcome to the UPBGE tutorial. Now you might be asking yourself, why the hell is he using Godot? And the answer is to show you this. I click the play button. This little guy, as soon as it loads, he falls. Look at that. And that was achieved by doing this. There's a function, initialize function, that does nothing before the game starts. There's a function process that does something every frame, but still does nothing. Then we got a physics process that makes the guy fall. Awesome. Now, the question is, can you do this in UPBGE? And the answer is yes. So let's close Godot. Let's go to BGE. So first in Blender here, we're going to change the color of this guy, this little cube. Let's make him orange. Then we'll raise him up. And we'll add a plane. And we'll spread out that plane. Then we're going to shrink him down. We'll adjust our camera. All right. And then we'll press play. And nothing happens. You see that our engine started. This thing's doing nothing. Next, we're going to add physics to this little cube by going to the Physics tab, changing game physics from static to character. And we'll press play again. Oh, look at that, he fell. Isn't that great? So normally, you would go into here and choose Logic Editor and add a controller, maybe Python, and do always, and click on that. But that's bad. We're not going to do that. Like I said, this tutorial is about using BGE like a real game engine. So instead, we're going to set this to text editor. Now that we've done that, we're going to go to our text editor here. We'll create our script. We'll call it comp for component.py. And then we'll open it. So first, we need to import the Blender game engine. And then we're going to create a class. And we're going to call this Cube Jump. And then this class is going to inherit from bge.types.kx Python component. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. All right. Now every class, every KX Python component requires a variable called args that needs to be set to a dictionary. We'll make an empty one. And then KX Python component provides us with three functions. One called start, one called update, and one called dispose. Now the way this works is just like with Godot over there. Start is like the init function in Godot. It basically runs whatever's in this section of code before the game starts. The update function runs whatever is in this function once every frame or every logic tick. What dispose does is run code when the object is destroyed in the game. Since we're not destroying anything yet, we'll go ahead and get rid of disposed for now. And then we're going to save it. Now to show you how start works, we're going to go ahead and just print to the console. And we'll say hello from start. And then we'll print, go ahead and do a pass for now. We'll save it. Then over here, we're going to load the script. And if we press play, nothing happens. So in order to use a component in UPBGE, what we got to do next, let's go to this little Python tab here. And click on Add under Game Components. To link the component to the object, you have to type in first the name of the script, which is comp, then dot, and then the name of your class up here. So this is called cube jump. So we do comp.cube jump and press OK. All right, it's been attached to the... Oh, I attached it to the plane. Let's get rid of that. Let's attach it to the correct thing. There we go. And now if we press play, you'll see down here it printed. Let's move me. Printed hello from start. Right down here. So now we'll do another print statement. Let's do print hello from update. If you click in the text box down here in Blender, you can press Alt-R and reload the script. Now that you've done that, if we press play, we got all these printouts. So here we got our first printout, which is hello from start. And then we got a whole bunch of hello from updates. As you can see, hello from start prints once at the beginning of the game, and hello from update prints every frame, every logic tick in the game. So what does this mean? This means that update is basically your while loop. You don't use any while loops in a BGE script because the update is run every frame. You don't use it in update. Update is your while loop. And then you don't use an update in... You could use a while in the start, but it'll slow things down, and it won't start the game until the while loop is satisfied, so you don't want to use it. All right. So, as we said before, start does the action at the very beginning of the game. Update does it every frame. But there is a problem here. We just printed a bunch of text, and we named this component called cube jump. So we got some things to do here. First of all, our little orange cube here needs a name. So let's give him a name. So what we're first going to do is we're going to add some fields in the UI. These components are similar to Unity prefabs. So what we're going to do is let's give the object a name. So we'll do, in args, let's spread out this dictionary a little bit. And our first property will be called, for this first UI item, we called object name. And we're going to pass a data type of string into it. And then we're going to do a second property, or a second, these aren't properties, these are going to be variables in the component, but I guess we'll call these UI fields. Our next UI field is going to be something I stole from the range engine tutorials, which is active. These could be named anything you want, but we'll do is active. And it'll have a type of Boolean. If you don't know what a string or a Boolean is, you should do some Python tutorials and learn your data types. I'm not here to teach data types today. And then we need to assign these UI fields to variables so they'll show up in the GUI. So next we're going to do self dot, call this obj name is equal to args, because args is being passed through the parameters here. So it's going to be args, and since this is a dictionary, we can access the array by doing object name. Let's go ahead and add one more here we'll call this bananas, because it can be anything you want. Freaking love bananas. And this will be a type int for integer. All right. So we'll do self.object name. Do self.isActive. Now the reason these variables have to have self is because they're inside a class. And when this class is called by the game engine, it basically runs all these variables inside the class, so they have to have a self. We'll go ahead and create a global variable up here so you can see that too. We'll call this one hello. And we'll name it hello from global. Okay. We'll do self dot banana count. It's equal to args bananas. So first we'll print that global variable. It'll say hello from variable, from global. Next, we'll go ahead and print the object name. So my name is self dot object name. We'll do a print. And I have self dot bananas. Bananas. All right. Last thing we're going to do here is we're going to add an if statement. If self dot is active, all right. Then we're going to go Alt R. And we'll reload our component. And we'll press play. And we might have an error. Oh, I have to show you this. So now you'll see that when we reload the script, and we go here and click on this arrow, we now have all these object fields showed up over here. So first we have to give the object a name. I think it looks, what does this cube look like to you? Does he look like a Sven or a Ragnar? No, I think he looks like a Billy. So we're going to call him Billy the Cube. Because I said so. So we named him Billy the Cube. It's is active. We're going to check is active here on the checkbox. And let's give him 7 bananas. Now, if you look here, you'll see up at the top of in our args here, we have object name string. And now, because we've done this and assigned it to a variable here, object name, in the UI, in the game engine, or in Blender, we now have in this Python component, we have object name, and we can assign it a string. Here is acts as a boolean, and it shows up as a checkbox. So is acted bool, and that means it's either true or false. Uncheck is false, checked is true. Under bananas, that's an integer type, so now we have this integer slider. So we can slide it back and forth, or we can click the arrow, or we can click in here and type it in. Isn't that great? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and reload our script and press play. And you'll see we get our error down here. The reason you want to run Blender from a terminal screen is so you can see the errors. And so what does it tell me? It says I messed up on line 21 in update. So if I go to line 21, so this needs to be changed to banana count because I'm super smart. We press it. Okay, then we reload and run it. Still have an error. Oh, okay, so we have to convert banana count to a string to show up in the sentence, in the print statement. So we'll do string. Okay, the string function here converts the integer into a string when you print it out. And you'll see now we have the printout here. It says his name is Billy the Cube. It says hello from global, our global variable. And he has 7 bananas. Isn't that great? Next, I'll go ahead and create a second class real quick to create another component. We'll call this one hello. Hello message. Again, it'll inherit from BGE types .kx Python component. Requires args to a dictionary. We won't worry about a start function. Actually, we'll just only do a start function. And we'll tell it to print hello. And then we'll try and print one of these things up here. So let's try and print self.banana count. And then to add this hello message component, after we reload, we go add, and then the component's going to be the name of our script, so comp.hello message. And now we have another component down here. And if I press play, you'll see we got an error up here. It says hello message object has no attribute banana count. Now, why is hello working, but but it did print hello. Well, it hasn't yet. So why is it not working? So up here, hello is a global variable because it's on the same level as our component classes. It's outside of our classes. So if you need a global variable that every component can access, you can put it at the top of your script outside of the class. But self.bananas only exists inside the class. And it only exists in the cube jump class. It does not exist in the hello message class. So we need to go ahead and just delete it. And now when we press play, we'll go ahead and delete hello from global here. Okay. You'll see it printed hello from global from this component. And then every frame it printed, hello, my name is Billy the Cube, and I have 7 bananas. Again, that comes from over here in the GUI. So this is how you add components. But just like with our Godot example, we want this object to do something. And we want to do something useful. And again, this class is called CubeJump. Why the heck would I name it CubeJump and not have a jumping cube? So let's do it. So let's get rid of the hello message class. Click the X over here to get rid of it. And then I'll go ahead and delete the hello message class. And let's go ahead and start adding some functions to our component. So in Python, functions are written from the top down. Python reads the script from, In Python, the Python script is read from the top down. So any functions you make that want to run in start have to be before the start function. And anything you want to run in the update function has to be before the update function. It can be before start, it can be before update, but it has to be before whichever one you want to use. So let's go ahead and put it above both. And let's create a function called CubeJump. So to access this object, the classic way to do it would be to create a variable. Let's call it self.cube. And then you'd go, first let's do it this way. Let's say cont is equal to bge.logic.getCurrentControl. No, you don't do this. Not in a component. What you can do is you can do self.cube is equal to bge.logic.getCurrentScene.objects cube. That's a way to do it. But in a component, you could also do this. This will work just fine. Let's go ahead and show you this. Okay. And then we have to get a hold of the cube's physics. So if you look over here, see that our cube has physics type of character. So to get the character physics, we have to create a variable. Let's call it fit character physics. And we would set it equal to bge.constraints.getCharacter. And you'll see that getCharacter requires an object, requires a Blender object. So we have to take the variable we just created for self.cube here and put it as the parameter to this function. Next, we need to make this thing jump. So what we can do is we can do let's do an if statement. If self.characterPhysics on ground, which means if the object is on the ground, self.characterPhysics.jump is the jump function. And we'll save it. And then if we run it, it is not going to work. Can you tell me why? The answer is because we have not called our function in the update section of the script. If we put it in start, it won't run. It'll run, but it won't jump because this start is run before the game starts. But if we put in update, where it's checking every frame if the cube is on the ground, we can do self.cubeJump. And that's our function call within the update function of the components. So let's save that. Let's reload it. And then to check if your code is buggy, you can actually go to the component and click reload. And if there's a problem, it'll give you an error message down here. But I'm awesome, so there's no error message. And we'll press play. Look at that. He's jumping. He's such a happy cube. Isn't that great? But now check this out. Let's go ahead and add a cylinder. Shrink it down. Let's smooth it out. And let's make it purple. All right, and then what we can do is take that same piece of code, comp.cubeJump, let's offset the height. All right, and then if we press play, wait a minute, he's not jumping. Why is that? First, we have to give this a name. Let's call it Lucy the Cylinder. Let's make her active. And let's give her 4 bananas. And then we'll press play. She's still not jumping. Obviously, we have to add physics to her. Character physics, then press play. She's still not jumping. What's going on? The problem is right here. We only grabbed the cube from the scene. But what if we want to copy this component over and over again and make different things jump? Well, the answer to that is to have it refer to the object that the component is attached to. And to do that, we get rid of this variable. And in this BGE constraints get character function, we change the argument to self.object. So self.object is a shorthand way of doing all that long crap we did before. So instead of typing all this out, you could just change this to self.object. Now, self.object is an alias for the KX game object class in the Blender game engine. So you could do dot, and you have access to your actuators, movement, the attribute dictionary of the object, its children, all this stuff, right? So self.object's pretty powerful inside a component. But it can also be the target of other functions. So we could do BGE constraints dot self.object. Get character self.object. Got some errors here. Let's get rid of that. And we'll add that cube jump again. All right, let's save it. And now, when we run this, look, they're both jumping. They're so happy together. Isn't that great? So you can make like a 3D version of, I don't know, Thomas Was Alone, I guess. Anyway, that's how you do that. And that's how you use components. So to go over it again, a component is a class that inherits from BGE types KX _ Python component. Every component requires an args variable that's equal to a dictionary. It can be an empty dictionary. The start function has to inherit the arguments variable. And then you can expose values to the UI to be manually typed in by applying these dictionary values to variables in the start function. The start function runs at the beginning of every game, and the update function runs every frame in the game's logic. Any function you create in your component has to be before the update if you wanted to run the update. If you want to run in both start and update, that function has to be above both. And then to access the object is attached component, use self.object. If you want to learn about everything if you want to learn about where I learned this, just go to upbge.org/ upbge.org and look for the API docs. The game engine API docs. All right, and that's how you use components. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We're using Rumble because I hate YouTube. And you have a great day. Bye.